JD. So I admit I'm not that up on the whole Gamergate thing. From what I understand, Anita made an initial blog about the representation of females in video games, and she got a virtual lynching off the Basement Dwelling Virgin Club. Is this true?
Oh! Ow! Basement Dwelling Virgins! Oh! Yeah. Try something original, nut.
And it basically spiraled out of control from there. Then, after years of harassment, she used a public forum to call one of them a garbage human, and suddenly these people who spent years harassing her are having a cry about it?
While yes, she was harassed, and that is not okay. Yeah, that did happen. But Sargon did not harass her. He criticized her on his channel in his videos. He did not take a public platform like VidCon and insult someone in the crowd like she did, breaking VidCon's code of conduct in the process.
Personally, I say f*** them, they're arseholes and they deserve it, but if it brings the harassment by these people into mainstream media, then that's even better.
So let's just ignore the years of the feminists attacking men, such as this.
You should be ashamed of yourself. You're scum. You are scum. Rape apologist, incest supporting, woman hating scum.
Is there someone else I can wait? Does she want to follow me?
Scum. Yeah, just another.
I just want to listen to someone else's opinion. I'm not even on a side here. I just listen to as many people as I can.
You know what though? Why would you pay money to support a rape apologist if you weren't one?
I never heard him say anything that was.
Well, it's scum.
Or this one.
Yeah, you should be proud of yourself. These are the men that are going to rape your sisters and the women in your life. You should be ashamed.
Or how about this one?
You shut the up and let me read my list. There's
and so I obviously can't like.
So number one, shut the up for a second.
Or this one as a last example.
Can you shut the up for a second too?
So those are just some of the examples that I had on my computer at the time of making this video. I didn't feel like going through the internet and finding every single example, but you get my point.
Hopefully they'll realize that real popular opinion outside of their little safe space is actually against them. What do you think?
What's this popular opinion you speak of? I mean, everywhere I look, feminists get mocked because they are crazy. SJWs get mocked because they are whiny little babies. In safe spaces, we're not the ones wanting to segregate campuses because being around white people's triggering and all this bullshit. They are. So where are our safe spaces? My safe space personally is me playing Grand Theft Auto running people over. Or playing Fallout 4 blowing up people. Yeah, those are my safe spaces. Because there I can do anything I want and not have to listen to you morons. But tell me again how we need safe spaces because we're so easily triggered by the sight of someone. One individual is so triggering.
You've basically got it. The harassment of Anita Sarkeesian was not what started Gamergate. That was the harassment of another woman. But yeah, in terms of how the anti-Anita stuff started, you've basically got it. She critiqued video games from a feminist perspective.
Lest we forget that her critiques, for the most part, were based in lies and half-truths. And she also took things completely out of context.
And was just absolutely mobbed and declared the worst person in the world and lied about and misrepresented and harassed and threatened and basically just treated like shit.
One question. Did the FBI find a single credible threat against Anita Sarkeesian?
For daring to have an opinion about video games that this group of mostly young men disagreed with.
And most people will agree that those threats, if credible, are unacceptable. Sometimes I even wonder if she did it herself to stir up publicity. I mean, it makes perfect sense. Stir up publicity with these threats that prove not credible, just so you can get more publicity. Hell, she's the woman that raised over $300,000 for her tropes versus women in video games series to produce a certain number in 2016, and she produced like 3 out of that like big number or whatever. So she basically extorted money out of people.
And yeah, what happened at VidCon was one of the ringleaders of harassment of her and harassment of many other people.
Oh my god, you dense mother.
Sargon's quote-unquote harassment is called disagreement. He disagreed with her, disputed her claims, and that was it. He never once attacked her. Do you not get it? He didn't attack her once. But she uses a public platform to insult the man. But it's okay. Flip the roles. If that had been Sargon up there, or myself even, and that was Anita in the crowd, you would be up in arms. You would be pissing your panties about it. But it's okay because it's a woman insulting and harassing a man who was there doing nothing. You hypocrites.
Showed up in person to intimidate her by making sure that he sat in the front row of one of her panels along with a bunch of his like-minded friends. It was purely an act of stalking and harassment and personal intimidation.
Steve, does it hurt to be as stupid as you are? They weren't doing anything. They were listening. That was it. They didn't do a thing, you moron. Provide proof that they did anything to intimidate or harass her, and I'll retract what I'm saying. But until then, bite me.
And she called him out and called him a garbage human.
And violated VidCon's code of conduct and should have been kicked out and not allowed to come back.
And the response was immediately to cry victim and to talk about how he had been harassed.
Again, you thumb-sucking moron. He was. He did nothing. He was sitting there. She attacked him. It's on camera, you idiot.
And how he was owed some kind of justice. It's completely disingenuous. It's a gaslighting tactic. It's how abusers act. They act like they're the ones that have been harmed when they have just perpetrated an act of harm against someone, and then finally they're stood up to, and they pretend like they're the ones that have been wrong. It's a classic abusive tactic.
Well, seeing as he was sitting there, not saying a word, not doing anything, and she attacked him, yeah, he is owed an apology. And no, it was not an intimidation tactic. Watch any video from Mundane Matt about this situation. They were there to listen, to learn, and maybe have their views challenged and maybe changed. But she couldn't have that. She had to resort to a childish name-calling tactic.
Will the greater mainstream attention be good in the long run? I don't know. I hope so. I hope not only will people in that hater Gamergate anti-feminism group realize that popular opinion is against them.
Again, what popular opinion are you speaking of? I haven't seen any popular opinions on your side. Not one.
What I really hope is that YouTube and Twitter and Patreon and all of these other platforms that these people exploit and depend upon in order to make a living being professional harassers, predominantly of women on the internet, realize that this kind of behavior should not be tolerated. And finally just do what they should have done in the first place and kick them the off.
How about they also do that for feminists who spread lies, like the wage gap, just as one example, or SJWs that attack people?
Are you experiencing oppression? Look, smile at me, bitch. What you want?
Or did you just somehow forget about that sort of thing?
And say you're not going to be on YouTube anymore, you're not going to be on Patreon anymore, you're not going to be on Twitter anymore, you're not going to use our platforms as a means to make it your job to harass and abuse people. That's what I would like to see happen in the aftermath of this. But am I holding my breath for that to happen? No.
Then I would like to see them do the same thing to feminists that spread hate towards men, or race baiters like Tariq Nasheed that bring hate towards white people for no reason.